Hello, my name's Ellie. I'm a paediatric occupational therapist and I run Sensory Space UK. So today I thought I would discuss the difference between a behavioural meltdown or tantrum and a sensory meltdown. So this is something that comes up quite a lot. Parents often want to know the difference between the two because it can be quite confusing because they do look very similar. So, a child who is having a behavioural meltdown or a temper tantrum, it often precedes them not getting something that they want or having something removed from them that they are enjoying. So that's a good thing to kind of keep in mind, that if you are in that situation and you start to see the behaviour, then it's most likely a temper tantrum or behavioural meltdown. Children who are having a behavioural meltdown also are still very aware of their surroundings, so they may adapt their behaviour depending on who they are with or where they are. Also, it's important to remember that if the child is given what they want and the behaviour stops, that is also an indicator that it was a temper tantrum or a behavioural meltdown. And it's very important to remember that behavioural meltdowns can be controlled. So that is often a key indicator that your child is having a temper tantrum or behavioural meltdown, because there are ways that they can control or change their behaviour. So let's move on to sensory meltdowns. So these are quite different, although they can look the same. So it's important to remember that sensory meltdowns cannot be controlled. They are a biological and physiological response to an environment or a situation. So when your child is having a sensory meltdown, it's most likely that they are in either a fight, flight, or freeze response. So if your child is in a fight response, they may be kicking, they may be punching, they may be lashing out, they may be trying to be hitting or hurting themselves in some way, banging their head. So that would be a fight response to a sensory meltdown or sensory overload. If they are in a flight response, they may attempt to run away, they may attempt to escape, they may attempt to hide under tables or fixtures. So that's what would happen if they were in a flight response. And if they were in a freeze response, that would mean that they would literally freeze where they were and maybe not be able to move or even communicate. So sensory meltdown is a biological response to a situation. So this also means that they are not aware of their surroundings. So a child who is having a sensory meltdown, that may happen anywhere, and depending on what's going on or who's there, that may not have any impact whatsoever on that child's sort of behaviour at the time if they are in sort of sensory meltdown, sensory overload. Also, if they are given what they wanted initially or you think that they might want, their behaviour is not necessarily going to change because they are in, this response where they are very anxious and they feel that the best way of coping with it is exhibiting the behaviour that they are exhibiting. Also, if your child is having a sensory meltdown, they will take a lot longer to recover. So you may actually need to remove them totally from the situation that they're in order to calm down, and they will often be quite tired after the event because of the emotion and the physical elements that are involved in having a sensory meltdown. Some children, especially older children who have sensory meltdowns, are often quite remorseful or embarrassed after the situation because they literally could not control what was going on. So when they reflect back on what did happen, sometimes it can be quite embarrassing. So there are just a few differences between the two. Hopefully that has helped you distinguish for yourselves, and hopefully you're able to pass that information on to other people who you think might find it helpful. So I hope you've enjoyed my video today, and please tune in for more videos coming soon.